Last time, we built at the county's first oil industry, along with a small rural town. Since then, regulators have raised concerns about a reliance on trucks to move hazardous crude over public roads. With pipelines currently off the table, we're building a dedicated cargo port, giving our city a better way to import and export goods. We'll also connect this new port to a cargo train terminal in our main city using a freight rail line, allowing oil and other materials to flow smoothly into and out of the city. As always, we've got a lot of work to do, so let's just jump right in. Alright, welcome back to Ashland, and we can definitely see that we have a few businesses with the high resource cost icons popping up, and from what I can see, it's mostly textiles, which is kind of surprising to me, given that usually all of my problems are with beverages, and the one that isn't surprising to me is the furniture. We don't really process any forestry yet, so this is something we might need to do in the future. And for this business, it seems like it's mostly just the acquiring because it has 6.56 tons of storage. Either way, this is what we're going to solve in today's episode. So we're going to build a cargo port. And there's a few different locations I've thought about for this, but the main area is probably going to be right around here, somewhere along this kind of waterfront area. And a big key piece of this would be our air pollution. So we can see that most of the air flows outside of our map, which is great because we don't have to worry about it. And that means that we can pretty much place any type of industry here and we don't have to worry in the slightest. And then with our cargo port right about here, we can send some freight rail lines pretty much down this entire area. Maybe we'll parallel the road and we want to connect somewhere along here. It has to have good access to the city though, so we're not jamming anything up. Now, let's just get started and place our cargo port. And to do this, we'll actually need to open up our development tree because we don't have it unlocked. We'll go to transportation and we will unlock water. Now with that done, we can finally place this. And this is a building that I refused to use in Elba because it was just way too big. But right here, it makes perfect sense. We have so much room, we don't even have to worry about it in the slightest. I'll want to place this with Anarchy off though, because when I've used Anarchy with it, I've noticed there's some really weird terrain things that happen, specifically with the front of the building. Alright, so I've got a pretty good sense of where I want to place this, so we don't have to use Anarchy. I'm going to buy our tiles, and we'll buy these ones right here. And there's one more important consideration that we need to think of, and that's how close we are to the edge of the map, because if we get too close, I've noticed some weird things can happen, so we'll want to maintain a decent distance, which means we'll place it right about here. And I just want to make sure, is the front of this port okay? Yeah, it looks good. Sometimes when you place this building, the terrain will actually level itself out, and boats will kind of ride up the terrain to drop off their cargo, and it just looks really, really weird. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen, so I'm not even going to use Move It on this. I'm going to try not to touch this asset as much as possible, so I don't have that glitch or bug pop up. Okay, now we need to get a road in here so we can give access to water, sewage, and power. And I mean, we need the road anyway, so I don't know why it has to be exclusive just to do those three. In order to get our road in, we're going to start just by running it along here. Seems like there's about 3 access points. So let's grab our zonable two-way highway. This does carry electricity, water, and sewage. We're going to send it kind of right along the front of it. And then I'm aiming to take this road and connect it right into our dirt road from the previous episode, because we need to have really good access and we might as well reuse what we already have. But before we do that, our road is currently under the water line, and I don't really like that. I don't think that'd be very safe. I don't know if it's a risk of flooding or what, but let's bump this back up. So we'll basically only select our nodes, and then we'll set it to the same height as the cargo port. Alright, now our contour should be perfect. Okay, so now we can see that there's no water line affecting our roads. To get this connected into our dirt road, we're going to try and follow the contour lines. But we want to make sure we're going easy on our curves because this would be a lot of heavy freight traffic that's going to be going through here. So we don't want any insane turns, kind of like the one right here. So let's start by getting this road upgraded, and I want to aim right for the middle. So I'll turn that off, and that is looking pretty good. Then it's going to come down from here, and I'll drag this all the way over. And whoa, what was that? System update error during serialize. And that is a bug that I've never seen before. I did a little bit of research before starting my game back up, and it seems like a lot of people are facing it. I'm not entirely sure what the problem is though. So if it comes down to it, I'll just start saving my game like crazy, and I hope it doesn't interrupt the flow of this video too much. Okay, and now with that road upgraded, let's just do a bit of junction control right here. So first thing we want to do is remove unsafe, then the dirt road will stop, and our new two-way highway will stop. And I bet you there's some weird graphical glitches happening, and yes there is, so I will clean all these up off camera. And then this road is just kind of insane. The curve is just way too tight for the traffic that we want on this road. So we're going to straighten this out just a bit. And then really all we're going to do is just follow all the way down here, roll along the coast, and then we'll connect right into our cargo port. Okay, and looking pretty good. There was a lot of terrain work that happened to place all of these roads, and honestly, I'm completely fine with it given the context of this area. We want the freight trucks and the vehicles driving along this road to have a nice gentle slope, along with nice gentle turns, which means we had to clean it up a bit, and we're still going to do just a tiny bit more of cleanup as well. Overall, honestly, it looks pretty good. There wasn't really that much cleanup that needed to be done, but doing all this has me thinking, we have the chance to add an external connection here, so we might as well do it. I'm not really happy with the terrain over here. I wish I could terraform outside of the map zone, but it's not a big deal. We'll roll with it. And I think we're just gonna send this road all the way in, and we'll see what effects this has on traffic. Alright, and then the road was underneath the water line, so I just used Move It to bump it up just the slightest bit, and it's looking pretty good. And my game crashed again, and I added the train upgrade to the cargo station. Now we're going to send a double train track that's non-electrified pretty much right onto this train track, and we're going to extend it all the way down. I'm going to do a bit of terrain work in order to make this happen because we want our train tracks to be nice and flat, or at least as flat as we can get them. So we'll grab the middle point right here, and we're going to send this up. Then we're going to turn on constant slope and ground level because I want to cross this little water part right here. And then we'll need to do some cleanup because right now the train tracks are underneath the water line and I believe that could cause floods. So let's start with this little hill right here. We're pretty much going to level a straight path through. Then we're going to pull this terrain back just a bit, and actually we should grab right here instead. We'll level out the area by the train track itself. Then we'll use Move It and set this to the same level as the cargo port. And my game crashed again, so I'm not going to worry about this too much. I do just want to move forward before I get stuck into this repetitive motion of doing the same thing over and over and over again. And actually, I'm going to come up here, I'm going to snap to the zone grid, and I'm going to try and keep this kind of aligned and parallel with the road. We'll come out maybe about 2 to 4 units, and then we'll just connect straight in. Wow, and this time even more is under the water line. Okay, we're going to roll with it. We're going to roll with it. I'm just going to send this along this edge here. And then I want this to meet back up into our main city. So we need to start thinking about where this will actually connect into. So essentially we follow along here, come right about here, we make a nice gentle curve to the right, and then that leads us to right about here. And honestly, this is a pretty good area because we have our industrial park of sorts right here, which means the air pollution is probably in our favor. So let's quickly check that out. And where is this blowing? So it's blowing towards our waste management and kind of off to the edge of the map. So that works for me. That works perfectly fine. And because I don't want to overplan this too much, I think I'm just going to grab our train station terminal or our train cargo terminal and just place it down. I'm going to find a really good spot for it. It has to be somewhere kind of on a flatter piece of land, or we're going to have to do a bunch of terraforming, either or. So we'll place it right about here. This is fairly flat and works for the area, plus we can extend our industrial park along this area. So let's grab our road and we're just going to send this all the way into our current highway. And I built that in small segments, so constant slope wouldn't do too much work. Otherwise the slope would have been really weird. Now let's buy our tiles. So I assume we're going to need these 4 plus this one right here. With all these new tiles, we have a bunch more upkeep costs, so we'll use these to expand our industrial park. But for now, let's focus on getting these 2 train tracks connected. So we'll take our double train track, non-electrified of course, and we're going to aim for 2 things. 1, we want to respect the topography, and 2, we want to disrespect the topography. So where it makes sense, we'll have gentle curves following the contour lines, but also at the same time, we want to reduce the total trip length where possible, so we will either do some fill or some blasting. Okay, and it is finally done. My game kept crashing. It was that weird save game error. I restarted my computer, and that seemed to have fixed it for now. I'm hoping it doesn't come back, but it probably will. Because of that, I just realized that I forgot to turn constant slope back on, and there's a few areas we'll need to clean up. But for the most part, I like this. I thought about running a bridge right across here, and honestly, it does make sense because it would shorten the trip significantly. But I don't know, I'm not sure yet. Definitely not that bridge, that's for sure, because that one sinks into the ground. I think for now I'll leave it how it is, and if we need some type of upgrade for the future, then we'll add it in. This one's a bit more obvious, and I don't know how I let it slip past me. We need to connect at least into one of our external connections. We'll probably want to do that right along here. And then we'll try and parallel this road. We're not going to go too hard on it as we approach the actual external connection, but for right now, we're going to try and get a decent parallelization. Oh wow, and that is just absolutely rough. So we're going to select all of our nodes here, and we'll align them to the same height. And that's definitely better, but we had to do a bunch of earthwork in order to make it happen. So we might as well do just a bit more. And really what I want to do is just make sure the slopes off the side of the train tracks aren't so intense. All right, and that is much better. Okay, so now let's continue our train track to our external connection. Okay, and that's looking pretty good. I didn't really worry about the... Wait a minute, what is that? Okay, that is not pretty good. That is pretty bad. All right, there we go. That is pretty good. Like I was going to say, I didn't really worry too much about having it be perfectly parallel when it comes to our external connection, because it doesn't matter as much. Really, we just want to get it out in the shortest length of possible, and these like roads are just a bit more curvy than I, would like to make train tracks, like, specifically for our external connection. We have a few graphical bugs and glitches, and we have this bridge right here, and I thought I could do something with it, but the more I think about it, the more I don't think I can. And I am just making this worse. Okay, I'm just going to convert this back to a ground segment because I'm clearly doing something here that I shouldn't be doing. If we need to in the future, we can take this and turn it into a bridge and we can have an entrance. But for now, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm also going to clean up all of these weird graphical shadowy issues off camera. But overall, I think this works. I don't think there's any big glaring issues with it yet. Actually, there is one issue. We need to take our train cargo terminal and connect it into our cargo port. Otherwise, there's no line. There we go. And wait a minute, actually, there's another issue. We don't even have a train depot to send out vehicles. That's honestly just the biggest blunder on my part. So I think we'll add it somewhere around here. We'll probably orientate it this way so we have a nice, simple, and easy connection in. I don't want this one though, just because we don't need this amount of trains. We only need about 2 or 3 at most right now. Now there is a bunch of options to pick from, and I'm not entirely sure what the differences are, but I think honestly either this one or this one could work. Either of these two could work. So we'll stick with this one and we'll place it down. We'll need to pull this back just a tiny bit though, otherwise it'll be too close. And this does have a capacity of 6 cars, so that's pretty nice. All right, now let's see if I can make this connection make sense, because I don't know, trains aren't my strong suit. Okay, so this one comes down and curves directly in at a 90. That's a bit close to our train terminal. I'm not sure how much I'm in love with that. Okay, then this one comes down as well, curves at a 90, but this time to the left. Okay, all of that is looking good. All of that makes sense to me so far. Although how close it is definitely scares me just a tiny bit, and I feel like that might be a problem. But so I can stop these blinking icons from driving me crazy, I'm going to quickly add in a road before I do anything else. Also, let's quickly think about our industrial park and how we're going to expand it. So the first thing I want to do is run a road that connects right up into here. I have a feeling that the slope is going to be significantly high, and I hope it isn't, but we'll do our best. At 5.6%, that's a bit rough, but maybe this is more for commuters rather than freight traffic. Pulling it back just a bit more gave us 4.9%. It's not amazing in any single way, but honestly, we'll roll with it. Now let's upgrade these roads right here, and then we'll expand our industrial parks grid. So we'll grab right about here, we'll send it down, then we'll send this one down as well, and then we'll just connect right in. This area is pretty hilly, so let's just do a tiny bit of work here, see if we can improve this whatsoever. Now let's just take this road right here and we'll extend it. I don't think we'll extend it all the way in. I think we'll try to keep this area kind of segmented off from the rest, but we will extend this one along here. Now we just need to split these in half. And the goal with this area is to somehow generate enough tax revenue to help pay for everything we just did. I don't think it's gonna. We will add one more connection right here though, just to try and improve that a tiny bit. And I just added some trees to remove some of the tearing from the road. But now is for the final reveal, the real most important moment. Will these trains actually connect or will they back up? Definitely a 20 wagon freight train will back up. So let's change this to something a bit more manageable. Let's say a 15 wagon freight train, and I feel like that's going to back up too. If we need to, we'll go with the 8. But I do want some bigger trains if we can get them. We'll assign 2 vehicles there and let's take a look. And it's already backing up. Let me guess, despawn. Yep. Maybe this one? No, it's going to despawn. Oh, of course it did. So this is going to end up in a continuous loop of them despawning. So we're going to fix this right now. And as far as I understand this one needs to do the exact same movements as the other 2. So I'm going to try this out. We'll connect straight in, then we'll connect straight over, and then down again and straight over. And it looks good. Like visually, I like the way that looks. I don't know if it actually functions or if it would function in real life though. What's not functioning right now is our pathing. For some reason our pathfinding is failing. So let's try and re-add this back in. We'll drag this all the way over here and then back, and pathfinding failed. Weird. I wonder what's the issue here. Is it maybe this spot right here? Oh, we broke the node, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Okay. So we'll delete this and re-add this back in. And now finally, let's add our cargo route back over here and then back into our terminal, and we are good. Okay, so now we just have to add the road, but first let's adjust our lines quickly. So we'll change this from a 20 wagon to let's go 8 wagon right now, just to be on the safe side. And we'll take the vehicles down to 2, and we'll change the color to, I don't know, green for money. Okay, that's working. That's looking good. Now we just need to connect back into our actual train depot facility. Okay, and I think we're finally in business, and look at all this traffic. I absolutely love it. I haven't seen this many semi-trucks coming through in our city ever. And I mean, it makes sense. We didn't have any transportation for goods, but now that we have it, we're actually seeing that traffic, and I love it. I love it. I hope it stays like this forever. Now with our terminal station finally in place, now let's go over and finish off our cargo port. And to do this, we are going to add in a little industrial hub alongside our cargo port. So we'll take our alleyways and we're going to snap to the side of this building and then come straight into this road. And then let's say we'll go out about 8 units, I think. And then right into our highway. And we're going to have to do a bunch of work here to make this work. But one of the first things we're going to do is just align all of this to the same height. There we go. And then we're just going to add some keys along the side of this road. We'll also need to do a bit of work probably, but I just want to get the base foundation so I have an idea of where I want to send this further down the line. I'm not sure if there's something wrong with Anarchy, but adding those keys in was very, very difficult. I don't know why. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing with these ones, but I don't want it to feel too boxy or too perfectly gridded out. So I'm going to try and follow along the water line as much as possible. We'll see how it turns out. Okay, now after adding the keys, this is pretty much going to be it for this little area right here. Now let's do something similar for the other side. And this reminds me why key walls in the vanilla game, just the normal key walls on roads, are so difficult. It took way too long to get this set up. Now here's a fun fact. Every single building in Ashland has pretty much been plopped. So today I'm going to try and break that habit. I like to plot because I like the way it comes out, but you know what? Today, let's just try and zone something in. And I want to try and zone in both of these areas. Maybe I'll plop just a few buildings. And really, I just want to know, will I make it? Can I keep the zoned look, or will I cave and turn into a plop master? Now, I think this area is missing a parking lot because right now there just really isn't all that much parking. In fact, there's none. The only parking is in the cargo port. So I'm going to add this in, and I'm going to upgrade it and pull it down as close as I can get it to the highway. And it looks a bit wonky, but you know what? You can't always get perfection. Then I'm going to remove the zoning from the parking lot, and I'll do this for every single parking lot in this area, because if you do, then the parking lots disappear, and I don't really want that. And if you can believe it, I had the same save game error again, so I lost pretty much all of the progress over the last 10 minutes, but you know what, it's fine, because now we're here, and this is a much better improved layout. I've removed a lot of the zoning from a lot of these areas, and I've added the parking lots back in, and you know what, everything's looking better. I like this better. Now let's get a bit crazy and add another road in here. It doesn't need to be perfect, so it doesn't need to match up. I'm perfectly fine with a bit of offset. And really what this gives us is 2 units on this road right here, and then an extra 3-unit lot. And after fixing that zoning issue, we should be good to just zone a bunch in now. And I almost feel like this area right here is just a bit too big. I'd like to see some road in the back, either for transportation or whatever it may be. And whoa, why won't it connect? And wow, it is doing some things. It seems like we can just kind of get it just barely. It'll pop up sometimes. There we go, right there. Perfect. Okay. Now there's a bit of piling up with water. I'm just going to bump this up with move it. Hopefully that fixes it. Okay, it looks good to me. Now I don't want to anger City Skylines 2, so I'm going to leave it like that. We'll add in our zoning, and hopefully nothing will break. And you know what? Everything's going to work perfectly fine. I love it. You love to see it. After adding in all the zoning, I'm just going to let this fill in for a bit. Okay, and that looks done. I'm seeing lots of the same buildings. You know what? That's fine. We could do a lot of detailing to make this look really good. Now I'm going to swap my attention to our left side, and we're going to build out our road network for this area. Now, of course, this parking lot is massive, and it probably won't stay massive, but we're going to build out our grid first, and then we'll see. All right, and it's pretty much done now. I redid a few of the roads just because they felt like I was trying to mess it up on purpose so it would look different, and I just didn't like how it came out. For the most part, I'm seeing a lot of the same buildings, and it's driving me just a tad crazy. But you know what? It does look decent. I'll give it that. We're gonna mute some of the colors for sure. I don't want to see all this red, yellow, white, green, blue. I want to see a very muted color palette here, because I don't want it to feel like it's anything more than that. And I caved. I am sorry. I couldn't help it. I had to cave. I went through and I plopped pretty much every single building, and it just looks so much better. It has a specific feel to it that I really like. It has the muted color palette as well, and it doesn't feel like it's so, I don't know, random. And it's a really big difference. Also, I've just noticed that Time and Weather Anarchy has been updated, and it allows us to change the day of the year. So if you're wondering why the shadows look a bit off, that's probably why. If you set it right into the middle, there's almost no shadows. And I know I'm a bit biased, but I just think this looks so much better. I couldn't stand it. It's so much better. Anyways, I'm gonna stop yapping and let's move on to our next part. So we need to add in a connection to our external connection, because why wouldn't we have it? We already have our train tracks in place. Let's just add it in. All right, now with that done, let's move over to our train cargo terminal. And oh no, this does not look very good. Are we going through a death wave? We added in our death care not too long ago, so it should be taking care of all of our issues. I'm not seeing any problems. Our capacity looks perfectly fine. We haven't touched our budget in a very long time. It's still at 100%, I believe. So maybe this just needs a bit of time to kind of play out and see what happens. It seems like things are already calming down just a bit already. but I feel like there is something we can add in this area right here that will help, and that is a road maintenance facility. Right now, we don't have a single road maintenance in all of Ashland, and because of that, we're gonna add one in today. But first, we need to build out a little area so we can actually add this in. And actually, let me justify this first, and yeah, definitely, we need this. You can tell that the only roads that aren't impacted are the highways that were on the map when we first started. So this is completely justified, it makes perfect sense. And look at this road, it's already starting to see some wear and tear. Let's start by extending this train depot road just a bit further. And then we want to define the area. So I see this is a city services complex. We probably won't fill it up today, but over time we will. And to define the area, I'm going to measure about 12 units up, and that should give us a nice offset. And not a hard requirement, but we will try and maintain that 12 units of separation. And then this is where we'll use our alleyways to run throughout this area. And I think I'll go back on that 12 units of separation. It was mostly just for brainstorming purposes is why I'd built that. But now when I'm seeing how close this is, we'll have a good amount of separation, but we won't have that much. Alright, and I feel like I made that way more complex than it needed to be, but this is it. This is our final grid, so let's finally add in our road maintenance facility. And to keep this simple, we're just going to add it right about here. And for now, I'm just going to call this City Services. It'll be our little City Services district. And now let's swap our attention back to our old industrial park. I'm wondering how many employees. 516, that's not bad. It's actually a surprising amount. And our current unemployment is 9.6%, which is pretty bad. It's not great, it's not awful, but it's somewhere in between. We're gonna add some more industry here, and we're gonna fix that right up. You know what? I don't care. This time, I'm not plopping a single building. I'm going to zone all of this in, I promise. Is it as handcrafted as our port? No, but I actually don't mind it. I think this can actually work. It's so much better than plopping. Plopping takes so long. And I just expanded our district just a tiny bit. I really like to see how many employees are in a specific area, and right now there's 949, and I love that, which means our unemployment should be dropping soon. Actually, I wonder how many employees we have in our port area. So there's, wow, 1,300 open jobs, or jobs in total. That's a lot. So I'm guessing most of these are commuters coming into the area. Well, enjoy your long drive. All that's left to do is a tiny bit of detailing, and we're going to jump right into it. It's going to be very quick and simple. Well, through the power of editing it will be. So pretty much what I'm going to do, I'm going to extend a concrete surface through all of this areas. I don't want to see any grass. I'm going to add some dirt decals. I'm going to add a bunch of dirt decals to the roofs, and I'm going to place some random props. I'll probably add some vehicles inside of these garages, and really, that's it. It's gonna take a long time, but I know the outcome is gonna be worth it. And I would show you all of it, but it's gonna be so repetitive, it's gonna be the same thing over and over and over again. When we have these giant areas with essentially nothing in them, I'll add a few props. Okay, now before we add in all the vehicles, I just want to go through and kind of see what we've done, and it was a lot. In total, this was about 2 hours, and most of it was just placing decals on top of roofs and on buildings. And I'm laughing right now because I'm a bit crazy after doing it for so long, but it did come out pretty nice. It does feel kind of dirty. There's there's a certain charm to it that I really, really like. The time of day and the day of the year right now is kind of throwing it off just because of the shadows. But overall, I mean, this is a pretty solid area. This took so much time. I wish we could have added decals to the cargo port itself, but unfortunately, the only place that you can add them is right here. So I added just a few. And then over here, I gave it a little bit of extra treatment and just tried to make it even worse than the other side. I don't know why. And then right here, very, very light, super simple, nothing crazy. A few trees, a few decals, and that's pretty much it. All right, now I'll do a quick before and after. And that's a wrap. What can I say other than the save glitch was one of the biggest pains I have dealt with in a long time. I had to stop using Anarchy for a big portion of the build because I believe that was contributing to it. All of that made it even more difficult, but it really makes you appreciate the quality of life improvements mods give us. Overall, I'm happy with this build and I can't wait to see how it expands in the future. As always, big shout out to our YouTube and Patreon members for helping to support the channel, Ganger and Mihai B. If you haven't already, a like, subscription, and comment go a long way, and I'll see you in the next one.